In the last several weeks, look at the monumental gaffes and blatant falsehoods that have come from the opposition. First, they lied and said that our limousine legislation was passed for one man, and that my ruthless and controlling personality rammed it through the legislature so that this one man could be up and running. Stop laughing. By the time of the PGA Grand Slam. A blatant lie, yet no retraction from the opposition. Then there was the one about the second cruise pier in Dockyard, and the claim that whatever we were doing up there was without planning permission. Another blatant lie, and no retraction from the opposition. Then it was TCD. We had started to build there without planning permission. We were arrogant and felt we were not bound by the law of the land. Yet another lie. And do not forget about the election date that was August 16th. On the basis of a confidential PLP memo that nobody in the PLP ever wrote or saw. Maybe the memo was stolen, like the police file. Maybe the UBP moral lesson to our young people is beware of receiving stolen goods. They have no moral authority to run this country. And importantly, what about the public television station that the UBP boycotted? What about the station that tells the story of everyday Bermudians, where we can see our sons, daughters, uncles, cousins, where we can learn more about our culture? Where is your apology, UBP, to the many government workers and women and men of Bermuda who work tirelessly to bring this into our homes? When will you admit that you were wrong? Meanwhile, the UBP claims that our success in tourism is not real. They, whose former tourism minister was at the same time the owner and operator of a major hotel property in Bermuda. But this is the new UBP. They never acknowledged that this was wrong, that this was yet another blatant conflict of interest. I defy and challenge them now to say as specifically as they accuse me and my colleagues of all sorts of baseless misbehavior, to state categorically that this was wrong. Until you acknowledge and call out wrongdoing in your own house, you lack the moral authority to call it out in mine. Stay with me, because it gets better. Or worse, depending on your perspective. Take a drive with me on South Shore and glance over at the reefs. And witness the multi-million-dollar tourism development on our precious South Shore, on the coastline, by this same former tourism minister, who still refuses to give the PLP government credit for turning tourism around. In fact, he criticizes the PLP government all the way to the bank. The UBP is a morally bankrupt party that speaks with a forked tongue over and over and over again. Snide, nasty personalities like Bob Richards should eat his words because he got it all wrong on the limos. It shows you the absence of quality in the UBP camp. When Grant Gibbons, who knows much more about corruption than he knows about stem cells, becomes a poster boy for the Mid-Ocean News, it shows the lack of quality in the UBP camp. All the UBP has proven they know how to do is lie, hurl allegations after us, and mix up their box of color crayons to see who looks best in front of the camera from one day to the next. Isn't it striking? Isn't it striking, I dare say misleading, that Grant Gibbons, John Barrett, and Trevor Monis have not been prominently displayed on TV for the UBP? Now, I know a little bit about Hollywood. I know that just because you take a screen test does not mean that you get a part. And that just because you have a speaking part does not mean that you have a significant role. Many times you are just a bit player. Now let me move on to why I have to share some of these harsh realities with you this evening. I have to tell you about the moral bankruptcy of the UBP because the Royal Gazette, the Mid-Ocean News, and the Bermuda Sun will not. And I have to tell you that in the context of Michael Dunkley's proclaiming just yesterday that I am a threat to the island's reputation for integrity. I'm not the threat, Michael. I'm just not going to roll over and take the whipping you and your boys planned for me. Now understand, there's a time for quiet conciliation. And there's a time for bold confrontation. The UBP, with the help of the Royal Gazette and the Mid-Ocean News, will stop at nothing to try to take this government back from the people. You and your relentless, unwarranted, savage, malicious, and selfish pursuit of Ewart Brown and the PLP government are bringing this country into disrepute. The PLP and its supporters are not the ones who write all of these lies and unsubstantiated allegations about Bermuda, some of which are intentionally planted in the international press to bring pressure on you at home to view the PLP government unfavorably. This government merely defended itself. We are not the ones that started this ridiculous soap opera. It was the Mid-Ocean News and the UBP. Their problem came along when someone forgot to give me my script.